Cars.co.za. Hello and welcome back to the Cars.co.za Cape Town office coffee bar. I'm sitting here with Rob Yao, who is a Chinese automotive market specialist. That's the title I gave him. He didn't make that up. This is episode 2 of what is currently called China Watch, but Rob and I are working on a different name. And also, if you have a better name, then leave it in the comments below. I'm Ciro and welcome to. Let's talk about the coffee bar a little bit. Rob, what do you think of our digs here? Our new digs.
Oh, it looks cool, and then makes nice coffee. I'm not too much of a big coffee drinker, but I've tasted different coffees before. I think it tastes decent.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up from Rob.
Yes.
That's good. Alrighty, let's get into this. So in today's episode, we're going to look at some Havals, some GWM cars, which are only available in China, and which could come here one day.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll watch our podcast and they'll be like, oh, let's get that done.
I think this is also my motivation, and the point of this podcast is to show the South African buyers, what's available in China, and then what's like more cool cars that we can have it here, instead of we only getting the cars that's testing the market. I think GWM has done extremely well with coming into the South African market, and then I think the product is in the phase of being like tried and tested, and there's more market confidence in the brand. Yeah.
So what percentage of the cars available in China would you say we get in South Africa?
I'll say about we only take GWM as a brand, then that way is easier. I'll say about like 10%, if not 10% less.
10% of what GWM makes and sells in China is coming here.
Yes.
Wow.
Because here now, we only have 2 of the sub-brand of the GWM group.
Aura
and Haval.
Yeah. And, Tank just arrived.
Yes, Tank just arrived. So we have 3, but
And Way is coming. WEY.
Yes. So then hopefully, then we can have the full range. And then also with the Tank range, they trying out the Tank 300 HEV. I think that's a great trim. But
HEV, the closed loop hybrid.
Yes. So then, but there's also Tank 500 and 700 and 800s that's available out there, but people have like no idea about,
So what do you want to show us today?
Okay, cool. So let me show you here.
So whatever Rob shows me now on his laptop, it's just for me to see basically. But what we'll do is we'll put it on the screen for you, the audience, so that you can see in full glory all of these cars that Rob has brought for us today. So we're looking at basically some Haval. Well, everything we're going to look at today is within the GWM stable, right?
Yes.
Great Wall Motors stable.
Yes.
And how many brands does GWM have in China? You've got Aura, Tank, Haval, Way. Is P Series its own brand in China?
No, that's Haval. Yeah.
It's sold under Haval in China.
Yes.
And those are called cannons in China, right?
Yes, those are called cannons.
Why did they not keep that name? It's such a cool name.
I think whoever made the name maybe is not familiar with South African culture, with what imaginations could have been led from the letter.
You mean the POER?
Yes.
So they pronounce.
But at least that was
power,
a good save,
right?
yes.
And then they had to drop that again. Do you know what's quite funny? Is those cars come here with the POER badge on the car, and then it gets stripped in South Africa. But sometimes they get through, they fall through the cracks. So we got sent a test car once that had POER on the back, and they just asked us not to shoot it.
Yeah, because that's essentially is a inverted 520D. Or 530D, yes.
I mean, if you change either of the front and back letters, you get different words. Very different. Yes. Masa.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm distracting you. Let's go to some cars. Yeah.
Can't stay too far away from the mic.
No, that's fine. Yeah, put it there. Yeah.
Have a look at this.
So what am I looking at here?
It's the Tank 700.
Wow.
HI4T. Yeah.
HI4T. What does that mean?
So this is a hybrid electric car, and then that's on their new platform. Let me also find
plug-in hybrid, or like a Toyota Prius, like a closed-loop hybrid. Oh, that looks like plug-in, right?
Yes, that's a plug-in hybrid.
So it's a PHEV.
Because I think PHEVs also makes so much more sense in South Africa, because hybrids, let's say pure electric vehicles, I think you will feel a bit funny to drive from Joburg to Durban, and then it's okay if you stop in Harrismith for Wimpy or whatever. You can charge your 45 minutes there, you know. But if you were driving somewhere far out there, especially this vehicle, you know, imagine if you were driving out to a Northern Cape, you know, for camping and stuff, and then you're really gonna struggle with the charging stations. So I think PHEVs or plug-in hybrids make so much more sense to be able to use fossil fuel as well. Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I mean, Toyota brought in a RAV4 PHEV.
Yeah.
And they sent it to a few media houses, and we filmed it. We'll put a link to that film. And I said the exact same thing you just said in that video. So, I mean, you and I are totally on the same page. Because it kills range anxiety completely, right? Yeah. Because you have the benefit of, like, driving to and from work or doing the school run or whatever, fully electric, not using a drop of fuel. Yes. Then if you go on a long trip, or if you maybe catch yourself out and you don't have the charging capability near you, then you just put petrol in the car, right?
Yes,
and you carry on. You know? No, I'm a big fan of PHEVs.
Yes.
Okay, so we're looking at the Tank 700 here. So that's the chassis, obviously.
Yes. Okay. And then also to just show you this system. So basically what they're saying with this system is also that it's a four-wheel drive, but then like you will have the consumption of a two-wheel drive. It's an intelligent system,
Does it decouple, or does it switch off? It's probably dual axle motors, right?
Yes.
Or wait, ICE engine at the front, right? Yeah. And then dual motor at the back.
Let me see. There's a slogan. So it says, the new intelligent four-wheel drive electric hybrid technology, HI4, truly realizes the experience of four-wheel drive for the price of two-wheel drive. And then the performance of four-wheel drive with the energy consumption of two-wheel drive. And then to achieve optimal efficiency in all working conditions. Yeah.
So do they quote a range on that?
Yes.
What do you know the figure?
I'm not too sure with the figure. Yeah.
Because when I interviewed Tony Liu, head of Chery, he says that the Chery PHEV that's coming to South Africa has been tested at 1,600 kilometers on a full charge and a full tank of petrol. 1,000 miles, basically. So,
so in one go?
In one go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I imagine that this will be up there with that. I mean, Chery and Haval probably not too far off each other in terms of their tech in China, I would guess.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the Tank 700. Look, that looks good. Now the Tank's here, I'm pretty sure there's meetings going on at GWM head office. Maybe I'll drop Bianca and Conrad a little WhatsApp and just be like, are we getting the 700? Okay, so cool. So, right, the 700 looks really good. We'll put that on the screen. So what else are we looking at today?
And I don't know. I'm not too sure if this is available in South Africa. It's called the P series, the King Kong version. Yeah.
King Kong, is that what it's sold at in China?
King Kong Cannon. Yeah.
King Kong Cannon.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Right. The King Kong Cannon.
Yeah.
I want to get into Chinese car names with you as well.
Yeah.
But I think there's a P series coming. We'll put it on the screen. I think it's going to be called the P500, and I think that could be the P500.
Yes, it could be,
but this looks way better. This has got the black grille, the better bumpers for approach angle. It's got a snorkel, the black fenders. This looks amazing.
Yeah,
I really like
also
this.
better suspension. Yeah.
Is it more like Raptor style suspension?
Yes,
really.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So you can jump it.
Yes, you can jump it.
You can jump it.
Yes, you can
that's
jump it.
That's very cool.
Yes,
okay, all right, cool. So
any car you can jump it if you got enough budget. You know, I've seen the jumper Model 3 in San Francisco. So
it depends if your insurance company finds out how you broke the car or not. Okay, cool. So that's the King Kong Cannon, right? And that raises quite an interesting subject matter for me. Is what is the culture around naming cars in China? Because a lot of those names don't make it here.
Yes.
But are those names specifically designed to appeal to the Chinese market?
Yes, but also like once things is translated, a lot of things is lost in translation because King Kong in Chinese terms, it doesn't only mean the animation figure, the big
the big gorilla,
from the movie. It's actually pronounced as Jingang. So Jin means gold, and then Gang means like steel or like a rough material, like a very strong material.
Oh, I see.
So if I interpret it, it's basically a golden solid cannon.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, but then maybe that phrase is chosen because it is in English it's King Kong, and then it's recognizable in the Western world, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I see.
Now
I see.
people has an image of maybe of this.
Yeah.
It's like a car flying with a helicopter and then dropped into a remote island, but it's not. Yeah. Like the movie, Yeah.
Okay, so something that I wanted to ask you about, and you, if you're watching this, if this is the first episode of China What You're Watching, let's maybe quickly give Rob's credentials. I'll you just correct me if I get anything wrong.
Yeah.
But you're a consecutive translator, so
Yes.
essentially a natural language translator for business and Chinese government delegations, that sort of thing. Done a lot of work in the automotive world, working for component suppliers to Ford and BMW in South Africa, and even done some language training on the JQs. So
Yes.
your voice was used to train the computer to understand English in a Chinese accent, right?
I think for international accent, because a lot of the these work is outsourced. So then I will basically speak in a native English speaker's tone.
Oh, I see.
So it would be like, "Hi, JQ."
Oh, I see.
So-
So you put on your best like Bedford View accent.
yes, exactly. Yes, yeah. Because it just costs
Are
so
you
much
JQ?
cheaper.
You're right, eh?
Yes.
How's things?
How's the butt?
No offense to anyone
Yes,
from
yeah.
Bedford View. Okay, so the King Kong cannon, I think, and we'll correct this if we'll, I don't know, put something on the screen. But there was a
Yeah.
conference recently that GWM South Africa did or hosted and held for the media, and they presented their product outlook for the coming years. So, for instance, they're considering bringing away products, and there's a big P series that's been confirmed for our market called the P500. Now, I don't know if that's the King Kong cannon. So, and what will be quite an interesting thing is for episode 3, I'll follow up with GWM and I'll try ask them why the cannon name was dropped, because it ended up being the POER, and then in South Africa it ended up being the P series.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's actually talk about the Yangwang U8, because there's
Yes.
the U8 and there's the
Yes.
U9. What's the proper pronunciation?
Yangwang.
Yangwang.
Yangwang basically means to look up. So
Oh.
it's more like, in a sense, if you picture yourself, you're out there in the Kalahari and you're looking at the beautiful sky, and then there's like stars or whatever, and then it's like and also with this like high chassis and the height, and then you kind of
Yes.
look up to the car. Yeah.
I love how like every Chinese car name you tell me has such a beautiful story behind
Yes,
it, or
yes.
such a powerful like phrase behind it.
Yes.
In Germany, it's like, this is the 3 series.
Yes.
That's it.
yes.
In China,
yes.
it's like, this is the golden moon that leapt over Mars and then created a sprinkling of gold in the earth, and then
Yes,
we mined
yes,
the
yes.
gold and we built the car out of it. Like,
Yeah.
that's what like the
I think Chery's car is also called differently in China as well.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like with the 380T or whatever.
Yeah. No, so basically, you said at the beginning of the podcast we're getting 10% of what GWM makes, right?
Yes.
And I mean, GWM is a massive business. I think like 110,000 people work for GWM or something. It's insane, right? And they're selling obviously a lot more cars over there than they are here. I think the Chinese market is 24 times the size of our market. Basically, in
Yes.
1 month. In China, there's double
Yes.
the car sales of the entire year in South Africa.
Yes.
Right?
But it's also very nice that Chinese product now is like going around the world. So then like people from all different countries can also enjoy the Chinese product.
Yes.
And then that also creates a competition for other brands
Yeah.
to try to have the same equipment and quality,
Yeah.
to bring the price down a bit. Yeah.
So we spoke about this in the first podcast, but I think it's worth repeating. Are the same Chinese cars we get here, right? Let's take the Haval H6.
Yeah.
How much cheaper? I assume it would be cheaper in
Yeah.
China, as
Yes,
you don't have to
yes,
ship
yes.
it anywhere.
Yes,
But what's the differential that we're looking at there?
I think it's about at least like 30%. So
30%.
Let me like show you this other car here.
So a 600,000 Rand Haval H6 here, so 30%, 180, so it's about a 400,000 Rand car
Yeah.
in China.
Yeah, pretty
So,
much.
and then how would you rate the quality of the product that's arriving in South Africa versus what's available on the domestic market in China?
I think it's consistent with the domestic market because they all made in China, so
And
it's from the
car
same
is sold,
production line.
Same
yeah.
production line is sold in the domestic market,
Yes.
and then some.
The
of
only
it's
difference is
exported.
the left-hand drive and right-hand drive. Yeah.
Oh, I
Because,
see.
Yeah,
Okay.
China's driving on the other
China's
side.
driving
yeah.
on the left. Yeah.
So
and, yeah.
let me show you this car, this purple car here.
Yeah.
This is about I think if I convert it to rand terms, it's about 400,000 rand. So this is called the H5.
H5.
Yes.
Okay. Sold under the Haval brand.
Yes, I think that's more inspired by a Cadillac Escalade. So because you can see the shape is almost like a bakkie with a canopy that's slapped on. You can see how long the rear
But that
quarter
looks
of the
bigger
car.
than an H6 though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a name as so. This car is on a ladder frame. That's basically a bakkie-based car, and then it's just.
Oh, is this ladder frame?
Yes.
So it'll
that's
probably
ladder
be
frame,
built
yeah.
on the tank chassis then, I would guess.
I think no. I
Is
think
that-
bigger. I think
Bigger than that?
Yes, bigger than that. Yeah. This thing is more than like 5 meters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this
it's
is-
like S-Class sized, basically.
Yeah. And then this is also aimed at that cars is a bit cheaper compared to whatever the H8 or H6 or whatever, and then it's just a lot of space.
And it's a 7 or 8 seater.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Because Chinese people also like space. So if you notice all the European variants cars in China,
Yeah.
the Audi A6 in China will always be A6R.
Long wheelbase. Yeah.
Long wheelbase.
Yeah.
All of them is long wheelbase, yeah.
From what I understand, there's a culture that sitting in the back in China is quite prestigious. Like
Depends on what
being
car you're
driven.
sitting. Yeah. So if you're sitting in a sedan,
Yeah.
sitting in the back. So you always sit diagonally from your driver. So
I
you
see.
can speak to your driver. So that's the important seat, yeah.
Because there's that one sort of looks a bit like a Rolls Royce,
Yes.
and then the back seat is just one seat. It's like a throne.
What?
I don't know
No,
if you've
no,
seen that.
that's- no,
I
I
swear,
haven't seen that.
I swear,
Yeah.
we'll put it
Really?
we'll put it on the screen. Well, maybe Google it for yourself
Yes.
if you want to see it. But
Yeah.
but it's essentially they took the whole back seat and turned it into like a throne, basically. You know,
wow.
with like all the amenities and drinks cupboards and fridges and everything
Yes.
that you want. Yeah.
Yeah, China is also very big with customizing cars. You know, it's like one of the. So you know the Toyota Coaster.
Coaster.
Yes, the bus.
Coaster.
Yes, yeah,
What?
like-
What? Yeah.
It's like a 20-seater bus, I think.
Oh yes, okay,
Right.
I'm with you. Like a 20, like a commercial bus.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Chinese turned that into a 7-seater. So
Wow.
then you all have like first class airplane seat.
Like
that's
full recline, and,
full recline. Yeah, the seat is like.
and that is sold by Toyota.
No, it's not.
No, it's a custom job.
You buy it from, and then you send it to a modification shop, or you can buy it directly. Those ones that's already modified.
Oh
There's
my word, that
huge
sounds
production
fantastic.
lines. And also, we're not very big in like with MPVs here.
Yes.
MPV is huge in China.
Yes, MPVs died in South Africa.
Yeah, died
like
so
I mean,
bad, yeah.
like over there you get the Alphard, which is
Yeah.
really cool, and
Yeah.
there's the Lexus LM300, I think.
Yes.
Same car.
Yeah.
yeah. And then are there
Which-
Chinese sort of versions of that, like that kind of
Yes.
style of car?
There's so much because also those cars are hugely inflated in China.
The price of them.
Yes. So let's take the LM300 for example. So I think the invoice price from the dealership is just over 1 million Chinese currency, which converts
RMB.
RMB.
Yeah.
It's called the renminbi or. Now
Your
got it, yeah.
watch wants to get in on the
Yes.
podcast.
Yes. And or called the yuan. So that's converts to about like 2.5 million rand. That's on the invoice, right? But then why do they do that? Is also because for tax purposes, they slot in as a lower tax bracket. When you actually get the car, you get the keys parked in your garage or whatever, that thing is over 2 million RMB, which translates to 5 million rand.
Oh, so
So-
they invoice it lands at a cheaper price,
Yes,
and then
yes.
it's double. This price is essentially doubled once.
So there is you adding like optional extras or whatever, and also it's called a market demand adjustment, because like the volume is not not a lot of those cars, and then to get that car, basically you pay another 2 million rand just to get that car
but
to be in front of the queue. Yeah,
oh, I see.
yeah.
But there's from what I understand in China, there's a lot of JVs, right? So there's like, I think Chery and Land Rover build cars together.
Yes.
In China, then there's like Volkswagen will have a Chinese partner, GM will have a Chinese partner. So for instance, like let's take a car that's made here, like the X3, right? Which you could BMW, which you could argue is a rival to the H6.
Yeah.
And then would a X3, would something like that be built in China?
Yes.
But it will be built in China, right? It's not a fully import vehicle.
Depends on which BMW line. So if you're talking about 850, it's whatever X5,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be built in China. But
That would be fully
X3
imported. Yeah.
and like say a 2 Series or 1
Yeah.
Series, whatever, that's built in Xiang. Yeah, that's in the northeast of China.
Yeah.
So all these big brands, they have factories in China that's
Yes.
joined together with another Chinese factory. So my city is called Changchun. Changchun builds VW, Audi, and then Hongqi.
Oh, right.
Yeah, for
so
the-
Hongqi and the VAG group have a JV together, basically.
Yes, they all from the FAW group.
Four group.
Yes.
We have
Yeah.
4 trucks here. And,
Yes,
yeah.
in Port Elizabeth. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So a fully imported vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Does that get taxed heavily by the government coming
It's-
into China?
It used to. It was at 170%. So like a 1 million rand car would be like 1.7 million rand basically entering into China. But now it's a lot lower. And then they also have ports where you import into the port, and then the duty, there's like no duty on it. It's also a lot cheaper. But then also those cars now is struggling big time because of the rise of the domestic market, that the manufacturing capabilities are there. The Land Cruisers or whatever cars can all be made in China, and then they are 30% cheaper compared to the import.
I see.
Yeah.
So then the cars that are being made for the South African market, right? We said that they basically come off the same production line. They get sold in the domestic market and they get sold to international markets, exported, right?
Yes.
Just left-hand drive or right-hand drive.
Yes, correct.
So, but what are we not seeing in this country? Are there manufacturers that you rate are on the same level as GWM and Chery, or is there better stuff being made? Is there cheaper stuff being made that is just not being sold and is not even known in our market at all?
Yeah, so definitely there's cars that's better and also not as good. So let's talk about the better brand. It's called Xiang. Xiang, it means translated into English, it means to vision. And also because of the founder's name, his surname is Li. And then his first name is Xiang. So the brand is the same name as his actual name.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Yes.
And we'll put some up on the screen. But like,
Yes.
what do their products sort of feel and look like? Have you had first-hand experience or?
So we talk about, we say those cars, it's called they have the home appliance big 3 pieces, the major 3 pieces. So we call that aircon, TV, and then also fridge.
Yeah.
So that comes from back in the 80s, where a normal Chinese household a TV would cost 3 years of their household income, right?
So if you had those 3, you were.
If you had a fridge and then you had the big 3 pieces was a radio and then a TV and also a fridge, yeah. So that would be a big thing. So 3 big things to have in your household, yeah.
And now those are in cars, like it's.
So
it's
they're
like
in cars
thing,
because
yeah.
Li Xiang, if you Google Li Xiang 1, so LIXIANG and then 1, the English number 1, yeah. And then you see those cars, the screens are huge and then the seats fully reclines, and also the passenger seat, is very popular in China. It's called the queen seat. So it's for your partner to sit on that seat. The partner have an individual screen in front of them that's normally about 50-inch screen or 12-inch screen, massive, So your lady can watch series or whatever and also put GPS for you to transfer into your screen. So it's one piece of big screen across the car, yeah. So she can be watching series or whatever, and then she can also fully recline into the seats and then with massage functions and yeah. And also for kids at the back, they have the screens that's in the middle, literally like an airplane, huge screen, like that flips down, yeah.
So we'll put all this up on the screen, but what would the Li Xiang what would the direct currency conversion be into our market? Like, I mean, we don't know how much shipping costs and that sort of thing, but what would all of that cost? I mean, how big is the vehicle? Is it like H6 sized?
Yes, it's about H6 size.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it will convert to about, I'll say, about R1 million.
Okay.
But I think if that's sold in South Africa, that would be about 1.5 mil somewhere there. And then they plug in hybrids, and there's brilliant vehicles because people take them into Tibet onto like unbeaten roads to try out those vehicles. Yeah.
I see.
And then also they have the technology of changing the battery instead of charging the battery. You drive to a battery changing station. You drive.
Neo does that as well.
Yes. So then the bolt would come up and then takes off the battery and then slaps on another piece of battery.
Does that all happen automatically?
Yes,
no people involved.
And then what's even more crazy about that is that you can order a service on your app. You say my battery is a bit low. Now, like I'm at home now, 11 o'clock at night. You can order one of their representatives to come drive your car back to their battery swap centers, and then they bring it back for you.
Jeez.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, everything's done for
That's
you.
an amazing service.
Yes, yeah.
It's interesting because I remember seeing an interview with Elon Musk, and he said that they considered, like hot swapping batteries and battery swap centers, and they decided not to go down that road. So it was considered by Tesla. But I know I think Neo has the largest battery swap network in the world. Yeah.
Yes.
And now Xiang has followed the Neo model rather than the Tesla model.
Yes.
Yeah, which is super interesting. So basically, you never have to charge your car. Like, let's say you live relatively near a battery swap center. You actually don't need to charge your car.
If you live in the city,
so you wouldn't charge your car.
You wouldn't have
and
to
then
charge your
and
car.
then at those battery centers, they're obviously charging them. They have batteries ready to go. Those are always fully charged.
Yeah.
The next ones get swapped out. Those get charged, etc.
It's basically ordering a courier to bring your old Nokia phone that you just flip the cover and then putting a new battery. Then bring it back for you.
Yeah, you and I were talking about how phones, you don't swap batteries anymore, and you used to. Yeah.
We went backwards in technology.
I wonder if so where that tech is actually working is in sort of Central Africa, and it's actually coming here now. There's a company that's been very successful at doing this business model, but for bikes. So a lot of African cities run more on bikes, like Bangkok would, or I imagine a lot of Chinese cities as well. And the hot swapping of batteries is working really well because what they've done now is they've made it easy and affordable for independent business operators and entrepreneurs to buy into a battery swap center and run it themselves. So it becomes a profitable business for themselves, and it integrates into the
like
whole
a franchisee,
network. A franchisee, essentially. And then the network grows, right? Because you do need a lot of these batteries, and you need them to be charged and maintained and all the rest of it. And that bike system, from what I understand, is actually coming to South Africa. But obviously, changing a bike battery is like, it's like lifting a cooler box out. It's just like one, two, next one goes in, whereas changing a car battery is a little bit more complicated. And it weighs about a ton. So it's like sticking my Miata to the underside of your of your electric car, basically. No, that's fascinating. So I think this episode we focus on GWM, which I quite enjoyed because they've obviously, Haval's a top 5 brand now. Aura is now the most affordable electric car in South Africa. They're making some interesting moves. How familiar are you with the Way products, the GWM Way products?
With the Way products, not that familiar.
Yeah. Those are PHEVs though, from what I understand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think we can look at a few of those on the screen, but that brand is under consideration for South Africa as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And I popped into the tank launch recently, and I finally saw one in real life. It's a really cool looking car. It's kind of like it's got kind of Jeep vibes, kind of G-Wagon vibes at the same time, but I actually think they've successfely created their own identity for that car.
I really like the Zeekr brand. That's the sub-brand of Geely, because those cars is also based on the Volvo XC40, and then recently there was a video that went viral, and a huge advertising for them. It was fantastic because that car rolled down a 75-meter cliff, and then all the passengers survived, and there was nothing wrong with the structure of the car. So it's
can we get that video? Can we get that on screen?
We can get that video.
Wow.
Then we can. I think that video was recorded by Dashcam, I'm sure it wasn't like 1, 2, 3, go shoot, let's roll. Yeah.
So the Zeekr brand, from what I understand, is doing quite well in Europe now.
Yes.
So they've managed to infiltrate the European market. We're not going with the P word anymore.
Yes.
It also ends in 8, if you're wondering. So the car, I mean, we filmed it recently. My colleague Sean made a great film on that car. I just showed up and talked nonsense for an hour, basically. But the Lotus Electre, which is built on Zeekr chassis, the 1,000 horsepower Lotus Electre, one of the best cars I've ever driven. Ever in my 20-year career. Phenomenal car.
Yes,
and I think that we're definitely getting to a point now where, look, everything's made in China, right? All the good stuff and all the bad stuff.
Yes.
But I think we're definitely getting to the point where Chinese companies can develop things faster, make them cheaper, and increasingly make them better than Western companies.
Yes, because the Chinese working culture is called 996. It's called working from 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock, 6 days a week. So
sheesh.
Yeah. So, but
is that like a corporate job?
Yeah, like a corporate job. Yeah, it's hectic. And then like if you more like work even harder than that, it's called a 007. Yeah. So you work. Basically, you live at work for 7 days, all the time,
007 and a 996.
But also now the people, I think a lot of people that's also tired of I think it's called a rat race.
Rat race,
yeah. And then I think people also changing into alternatives. I think in the previous episode we were talking about Chinese like so-called sweatshops or like poor working conditions or whatever. But to be honest with you now, China is the victim of its own success because with all the money or GDP, there's the increased level of schooling or in society. The salary is also going up. So China is transitioning from a cheap manufacturing place into high tech, like developing more like chips and stuff. Yeah, instead of just have cheap labor to be the only edge in the international market.
I see. But then what will probably happen, my prediction would be that they will move their manufacturing bases maybe out of China, because that's what a lot of the American brands did and the European brands. So you get German cars manufactured like in Poland, and you get American cars manufactured in Mexico, for instance. So you might have Chinese cars manufactured in Vietnam or that sort of thing. That could be the way that the industry goes.
But also the culture with, I think, labor unions is also very different compared to in China and also other countries. So the labor unions in China is more like a guardian style for the employees. It's like more like looking after you, and also they're part of the employer. So they don't work really against the employer. So it has a
the
better...
union is part of the employer, not them.
They're more, I'll say, like they're more on the same wavelength instead of...
more aligned.
Yes,
maybe.
more aligned, and then instead of working against each other all the time. So that also helps with production. So if you like look into the American factory video, you'll see in the Fuyao factory, everyone that's comes to the morning meeting, and then they line up in like a military style or whatever, then they sing a song or whatever. People think that's suppressing, but I kind of don't feel like it's more like very suppressing in that way. But you have a huge contrast. They play the video where the Chinese factory in the morning meetings like this, and the American meeting, everyone's like browsing around, standing around, and it's like not really focusing on what the manager, on the supervisor is saying. A lot of this information, I think, they discuss in the morning meeting is important, and then that can save your life or whatever. That's really helps with production.
Result in a better product.
And then it's like people just not. I think individualism. Like I think there's always pros and cons, right? I agree with that, but a bit like too free is almost like let your toddler be like too free. Yeah, sometimes I think people need a bit of framework and also guidance that's actually benefits them. Yeah,
like some structure.
Some structure. It can't be like I want to identify as a unicorn and then therefore I'm entitled to be a unicorn.
I think. Look, I mean, I hear what you're saying. You know, these days you have a meeting, everyone's sitting around the boardroom table, half the people on their phones, and maybe there's something to be said for the unity inside those factories, which results in a healthy business, and then everyone keeps their jobs and the business grows and more people get jobs and all the rest of it. I mean, I think there's something there, but and I haven't visited China yet, and I'm really, really keen to go. I'm very keen to go. Maybe we go together one day.
Yes,
We
should.
I'm keen, and together I think we'll explore this in future episodes. I'm keen to understand Chinese culture and its effect on the motoring industry and how the motoring, because China's gone from making relatively poor cars. Well,
horrendous cars. Horrendous. Yeah.
Yeah, you can say it. I can't say it. But cars that were perhaps inferior to Western vehicles.
Hugely inferior.
But now often superior, right? But that's happened in a very short space of time.
Yes.
And I'd love to understand that a bit better. But maybe we can unpack that in episode 3. We'll go into sort of Chinese culture and how the motoring industry there was born out of the history of China. That would be really interesting.
Definitely, yeah.
But I think for this podcast, though, for episode 2, we can let's wrap it up there.
Yeah,
a lot of fun, Rob. I'm enjoying this a lot. Just for context, Rob actually lives and works closer to Rustenburg, closer to Sun City. So we've flown him into our Cape Town office. This is our Cape Town coffee bar, as I mentioned. And what we'll try to do is record 2 episodes every time you're down here, and then maybe more. If you, our audience, enjoy this, then we'll definitely do more per month. And then I don't know, you're just gonna have to move here. Wait, no, I'll come film in Joburg and we go have a hot pot. While we're talking. But this has been a lot of fun, and Rob and I will be engaging in the comments. So if you have questions for Rob, or if there's something you want to point out to us, or some interesting facts and trivia that you have about the market, then put it in the comments and we'll jump in as often as we can. Rob's a busy guy, but we'll do it as often as we can. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to engage with you in the comment section. We'll put Rob's social as well in the description, and a couple of links and to some interesting places and sites and articles that we have on the sites as well, in some previous videos we've done. But Rob, a lot of fun. Thank you very much. I look forward to episode 3 and 4.
Yes, me too. Yeah, great.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Rob. There we go. Cars.co.za.